This was, without a doubt, the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. I was putting in so much effort, so much time, and I was still so bad.
Sometimes you gotta laugh at the mistakes. Oh my God.
Okay, so today I'm going to be taking you guys on another little journey with me. This one is going to be a little bit different than the one I took you guys on before. This is going to be about piano, but more specifically, Clair de Lune. I am also going to play the song at the very end of this video, but of course I have to yap before we get into that. So let's, I guess, talk about my journey, my process. It was definitely Interstellar that pushed me over the edge to actually go after this little dream I had of learning the piano. There was something about Cornfield Chase, or like the whole album, whatever, it doesn't matter. There was something about this song that just transported me to a whole different dimension, and I feel like a lot of people can relate in this sense. There's just something so magical about this song. So one day I was just sitting there listening to it, and I just told myself I have to play this. Like I have to be able to play this by myself. And I found myself figuring things out very, very quickly. So I told myself, okay, wait, before I go on. This was a very, very easy, simplified, very, very simplified version of Interstellar. It's not like anything super crazy, but even then I found that I was getting through it a little quicker than I wanted to. For some reason, I really just like to struggle with things. I didn't know any piano repertoire at all. Like I've never sat and learned music history. I've never picked up an instrument. I've never touched any sort of music device. For whatever reason, I was so entrapped into this song that I ended up spending like $2,500 to get a KDP 120 Kawai piano. I really like Kawai. There was so much nuance in the way you touched a key. You could touch it fast, slow, soft, hard, and it made a whole bunch of different sounds. And it kind of scared me at first. I remember distinctly thinking that these keys were so heavy, like to actually press them down and to get the full sound out of these keys, it took so much effort. I think I actually started sweating like the first day I played. For some reason, the only song that I did know was Clair de Lune. I guess everyone has come across this song in some way, shape, or form. I guess I knew a few other songs, like the famous songs, whatever. But Clair de Lune was so beautiful, and I really, really wanted to learn this. It sounded super easy too, especially the beginning part. For some reason, I feel like when I think back to that time, I only remember listening to the beginning and not going through the whole song. Getting to the first page of Clair de Lune was really difficult, but it was manageable. This was such a crazy first song to pick. I think when you hear it too, it sounds so simple, especially in the beginning. This was, without a doubt, the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. I think the first time I actually sat and watched someone perform Clair de Lune, it almost just blew my mind. Seeing this performer play this song and just watching our hands were dancing on the keyboard, I wanted to do that so bad. There were a lot more songs that I learned how to play other than Clair de Lune, but this was honestly the one I wanted to learn in its entirety. I watched a ton of videos when I first started playing, just trying to figure out, I guess, what the learning curve was like. And when I was watching a lot of these videos, I seen people like learning 15 different intros to a song, but I didn't see almost a single one of these like 1-year journeys actually do a song in its entirety, or at least like a complex song in its entirety. I just told myself right away that I wanted to pick a song and actually finish it. Clair de Lune was just the song that I picked to finish, but I did learn some other things that like kind of helped me in this journey. I started Liebestraum number 3. If you're a pianist, then I guess you would know how absurd that sounds for someone who was 6 months in at the time that I started that. But I really loved that song. So I kind of just started from the most difficult part of the song, and I said like, okay, if I can learn a small part of this, like really difficult section, I could probably learn the rest of the song because it's not as difficult. I still haven't touched that song since like maybe 8 months. That's a whole story for a different day. It's hard to actually put into words how difficult this challenge was, but I think it was that same level of difficulty that pushed me to keep going. I almost kind of compare it to Elden Ring. You know it's really difficult, but you know that it's something that can be overcome. You just need to get good. So that's what I did. I spent countless hours just sitting at the piano. I would start playing at around 11 o'clock and I would literally continue playing throughout the entire day, and I would stop at like 2 in the morning. It's ridiculous, but I kept messing up. I was so bad at this. I couldn't understand. I was putting in so much effort, so much time, and I was still so bad. Nothing could have prepared me for I think it was measure 37. If you played Clair de Lune, you know this, I was gonna say awful section of the music, but it's beautiful. You know this very complex section of the music. It is wildly difficult to play. Oh man. It's not that I could play it well, but I had it memorized, at least. I didn't have to like rely on anything. I kind of had an understanding for the rhythm of the music. My fingers had to do things that they've never done before. And it was just so almost awkward. My hands felt uncomfortable, they hurt. Everything about it was just so strange. None of it made sense. It was so fast, it was so difficult. I think my biggest mistake actually tackling this with zero piano experience whatsoever was probably not learning how to read music from the start. And I'm saying that, but I still can't read music properly, or not properly. I can't read music to the level of Clair de Lune yet. And I still try to play these like really complex songs. But I think had I spent the first 2 months like really diving into sheet music, that would have helped me a lot more. Like I didn't even touch sheet music until I had Clair de Lune memorized at like 6 months. That's when I was like, okay, I know I really want to take this serious. I got to this basic understanding where like I could sit down and like dissect the piece, barely, not dissect is the wrong word. I got to a point where I could just sit down and like kind of like write out the notes if I really needed to do that. But at least in the stage where I was at, I actually just felt like it was so much quicker and so much easier to just watch the Synthesia videos and see what they were doing and just almost copy that to a degree. Now, a lot of people say they have a really, really hard time learning this way, but I think it was just a little easier for me because I don't have difficulty memorizing the music. Like once I put it in my hands, I kind of know, it kind of stays there. So this ended up being easier, but hurt me in the long run, I would say. Because now every time I want to tackle a new song now, it's more about, can I read the sheet music for this rather than do I think my hands will be able to do this? Ultimately, I do want to produce music, probably more like on the cinematic side of things rather than like the classical composition stuff. Although I find that they're kind of getting blended together these days. But I want to produce. I just told myself that I would kind of just have fun for at least like 2 years on the piano and let myself just really fall in love with the whole process of what I was doing. Because I knew how boring, I guess, music theory was. And I'm sorry for saying that, but like, there are very few people that like learning music theory. And it's not that I like learning anything, but music theory is a whole different aspect of music than like actually playing. And I just wanted to play. I knew that if I gave myself time to fall in love with what I was doing, then pursuing the theory aspect of it just wouldn't be so daunting to me. It wouldn't be like some impossible task where I felt like, oh, I could never understand this because it's so difficult, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, as an adult going into piano, it's very daunting and it's very like scary. You know, as an adult, how difficult it is. And when people are praised for their piano skills, you know it's because like they spent their entire life dedicating all their time to just doing this. I kind of just had to throw all of that out the window. Like, yes, it was difficult, but the only thing that was gonna stop me from doing this was me. So once I actually finished the first page of Clair de Lune, I knew that this was something that I really just wanted to give myself to. So I think my favorite thing about playing piano would probably be almost how emotional the experience is. There was something almost romantic to me about it. I love the sensation. I love the thought of it. I loved how intimate it felt to just play how I felt. Because you could be angry, you could be sad, and that'll come out in your music. Like however you're feeling, you're gonna express that. I knew though to actually be able to dance on the keyboard, it would take me a lot of discipline. So maybe I started to like over romanticize the process. It was just so beautiful to get to play such incredible music and have it be so emotional and almost personal to me. Because you can like sit down and listen to a recording of Clair de Lune or whatever, but when you're sitting down and playing, not even just Clair de Lune, like any song that you're playing, when you're just sitting down and playing the song, there's just so much emotional connection to what you're doing that you almost just can't really get anywhere else. Like anyone who has an instrument will understand what I'm saying. But that intimacy that you get from being able to express your heart without words, it's just so consuming in the best ways possible though. So I kind of just let myself have fun with it. I just learned in whatever way just felt organic, as sacrilegious as it might be to some, music people. I know moving forward, I definitely want to finish Liebestraum. I know now the mental fortitude required to learn a song, and I think I'm just a little nervous to start that whole process again. Because there are a few things I want, there are a few other things I want to start too. Like I really want to start violin. And I can't imagine learning how to play violin and learning how to play Liebestraum at the same time. So it's a little bit of a conundrum. I definitely have to learn 1,000 miles. I don't know why I don't know it already, but 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles actually might be next. I feel like it's just ever so slightly easier than Liebestraum. So maybe I'll tackle that and then that one. I don't know. So before we jump into the playing, I just want to quickly say I am not a professional. I've only been doing this for like a year and a half now. There are so many people better than me at playing this song, but this video was about my experience learning the song. It's not necessarily saying that I can play this the best. So I know there's going to be music people out there that are like, picking at my rendition saying, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. I play because I love to play. So with that being said, let's enjoy the music.